Jedi. I have been waiting for you.
I'm not sure I've made your acquaintance.
I am surprised you could have forgotten me so easily after I killed your master and you left me for dead on Naboo.
It is you.
You may have forgotten me, but I will never forget you. You cannot imagine the depths I would go to stay alive, fueled by my singular hatred for you.
That may be so, but I defeated you before, and I can defeat you again.
Don't be so certain.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Kessel Run Weekly. My name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And this week, Kristen, what do we have in Star Wars news?
Star Wars news.
Kind of sounded like Star Tours. It's pretty good.
Thank you. I hope it comes across okay. I'm not, I was never in choir. So
Oh, okay.
I wasn't taught.
Auto-tune, you know.
I'm just that good. No, I'm just kidding. So something we found out this week that's on StarWars.com is that they're doing a book called Droidography.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is that?
So, from what I can tell, without literally reading it word for word to you guys, I think it's just like a deeper dive into droids, essentially, in the droids of Star Wars.
The true heroes.
The true heroes, of course. It's supposed to kind of get back to like our normal ones, like R2, C-3PO, and then some of the other ones, like the new favorites. Supposedly, I don't know them.
So like BT and 000 from Dr. Aphra?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them.
So, supposed to be seeing them. It's supposed to be told from the point of view of Roger. He's a good guy battle droid from Lego. It's apparently a Star Wars adventure, the Freemaker Adventures.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I think it was Fox Rono, actually. He was telling me about it, that it was something worth checking out. So that might be something we dive into.
You know, I made you watch that Lego
oh, God.
Jurassic Park thing.
The Jurassic World, Indominus?
Escape of Dominus Rex or something
like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I mean, it was most definitely geared straight for like 5-year-olds. Because I think the age thing on it was like 5 to 7. I was like, well,
so it met your standards. No, I'm just
totally. It was funny though. Like it made me giggle a lot because I think they threw hot dogs at the dinosaur because obviously like it's a kid's thing. Like you can't throw goats.
And then there was a guy in a hot dog suit. And then they kept chasing.
So you knew it was funny. He like looked at me when as soon as I was like, "Can we watch this?" He was like, "No." In his eyes, like I could see it. He was like, "Please, no." And then we watched it.
Yeah.
He giggled just as hard. It's fine.
Yeah.
But sorry, off topic a little bit. Just Legos, my bad. But we're supposed to be getting the Droidography on November 6th.
Oh, cool.
This year. So I honestly think it's pretty exciting because ever since we kind of started our rerun of the movies and shows, I just have been taking a bigger notice of the droids.
Oh, yeah.
And just kind of, honestly, how funny they are. Especially R2 and C-3PO. Because they crack me up. Like, they act like they're, like, brothers. Which is hysterical. And, I mean, I don't know. Just all the droids in general.
Absolutely.
I guess. I think it's really cool to... Hopefully this is going to be something really cool. I'm just
Definitely.
not sure.
Side note, who is your favorite droid so far?
Oh, I didn't even pick. I don't like to pick.
You gotta choose one.
I can't.
Or a pair. A droid pair.
No, I can't pick a pair either.
Why can't you pick a pair?
I don't know, I like L3.
Okay.
But then I like K2SO.
That would be an interesting pair.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That would be an interesting pair.
That would be, because they're both really, like, hard-headed, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, the droids.
Very
like,
straightforward and sarcastic, and that would be funny. That would be
really
amazing.
Funny. They are both really sarcastic, so that would be a really funny pair. But, I don't know. I mean, Chopper's really cool. Like, I don't know. I can't pick between my favorite droids. They're all really good, and they all
You just
serve...
love droids.
Yeah, they all serve a different purpose for each,
You're right.
each person they follow around, essentially.
Definitely. Well, so we have another piece of news from StarWars.com that was announced. I think it was either this week or last week. I'm not 100% sure. But in all the excitement, I definitely wanted to mention it. So with Thrawn Alliances coming out July 24th, like just in a matter of days at this point, which is really, really exciting. I think it's sometime next week. Yeah. Oh, check me on it. No, I'm just playing.
No, that's right. It's the 18th. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. Next week.
Yeah. So July 24th is when it's coming out, and Barnes & Noble is getting a exclusive artwork to it. So it's not necessarily like a cover art or anything, but there's a Padme poster that's it's Padme on Batuu, which is really cool because that's Galaxy's Edge. Padme on Batuu, like full color art. It's a poster that's going to come with it, and it only comes with Thrawn Alliances from Barnes & Noble, exclusive to them and everything. So, like, the whole internet's been, like, going crazy over it and everything, because Padme looks freaking awesome on there and everything. So, I showed you the artwork. What did you think about it?
I think it looks really cool. I'm pretty excited. Like, sorry, Books A Million. Sorry, any other bookstore.
Going to Barnes & Noble.
Right.
You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
So I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm still bummed that we're going to miss the SDCC exclusive art, the one with Anakin and Thrawn. I'm still bummed that I'm going to miss out on that. But you guys going to SDCC this weekend, enjoy. And if you happen to pick up one, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at you, but
if you just so happen to stumble across an extra,
yeah, I mean, Republic credits will do fine. But yeah. So you guys have a great time at San Diego Comic-Con. We're looking forward to all of your adventures. Definitely be following around and living vicariously through you. So
yes, most definitely. We will not be able to join, but we will live through the social media. Through
the magic of social media.
Yes.
And Instagram. And the Twitters. Mostly the Instagrams. I feel like you can get a better glimpse of it on Instagram. Sometimes That's
Facebook,
true.
But Instagram's kind of where it's
Twitter,
at.
it's kind of a roll of the dice what you're going to get.
Snapchat's not bad either, actually.
But it's like, it doesn't stay though, does it?
No, but
okay.
if you, if we
I don't Snapchat, so I don't know.
You don't. I don't really do it much either. But if you just a tip if you don't do it very often, there's a map you can get to now. And you can actually find events.
Oh, okay.
If you you'll see where it kind of hotspots are. So if you were to zoom out right now,
fun.
Honestly, you'd probably see any events that are going on. They'd be hotspots and stuff. So if there was a concert down the road from us or something, there'd be a lot of little red, I think, pulsing kind of or something. I can't remember because I haven't done it in a while.
So large snaps coming from that event and
yeah,
it'll
and so you can actually click, and I think it gives you the event. Because we actually did it one time. A year or so ago when we were missing out on a con, I think. Yeah. And I think I went through and was looking at people's snaps. And it was cool.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah.
It's pretty cool. Can't keep it or save it really as well, but it's still fun.
We'll still have fun with you guys.
Yeah.
Think of us as you're traveling to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Or be listening to this episode. Either way works for us. But yeah.
Both.
But yeah, guys, so cool. So I think that's all of our Star Wars news of the week, because in all honesty, not a whole lot's been going on. I think we're really gearing into Resistance coming up in the fall and everything, which is going to be really cool. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, so short news segments at the moment.
Yes.
But if you're ready, Kristen, I think it's time for our main event.
Oh, I'm ready.
So our main event this week is the return of Darth Maul.
And now, our feature presentation.
So I had to say it that sinister because, oh my gosh, it's such a violent opening to a character reintroduction.
Yeah.
So quick synopsis for anybody who doesn't know. I mean, obviously there will be spoilers. This is Clone Wars. It's been out a long time. Fair warning. But anyways, so a little synopsis. So Darth Maul, it returns in Clone Wars.
Yes, he does.
Bro is cut in half ends up on a junk planet, loses his mind through his hatred, the dark side, all that kind of stuff, somehow makes himself some spider legs. I don't know why that's what the dark side did for him. I don't know. Why couldn't it just been like legs? But,
I kind of thought that too as we were going through watching this. I was there thinking, like, why couldn't they just make, like, 2 mechanical legs? Wouldn't that have been so much easier than making, like, a spider suit?
Exactly. Instead of turning him into the spider from Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so he is found by his brother Savage Opress, or Savage.
We realized that. Don't judge us. Well, don't judge me.
I was about to say, this is more your thing.
More me. I like subtitles. And so, like, as soon as they showed, like, Savage, like, I was like, why does that smell like savage? He's Savage Opress.
But with finesse.
With finesse, yes, of course. Yes, of course. But we realized that.
But yes.
It was funny. So we were calling him, like, and then later in one of the episodes, too, that guy, one of, like, Hondo's looking dudes, the pirate, was like, Savage Opress.
Who's that guy?
Yeah. So it wasn't just us. Everyone who sees the name thinks this.
Exactly. But yes, Savage Opress. I almost said savage.
It's so easy.
It is. He finds his brother, mad, crazy Spider-Man-ish thing.
Out of his mind?
And just starting out, like, oh my God, Sam Witwer's performance. I would have loved to be in the booth for that.
Incredible.
What are you doing?
What does she do in Parks and Rec when she's like, you know
the worst.
The best.
You're so goofy. But yeah, so you just made me forget what I was saying.
Sam Witwer's
Sam Witwer's performance. But yeah, like, in all honesty, that's the craziest performance of Clone Wars. Like, if there was ever, like, best performance overall for the entire series, it's Sam Witwer and Darth Maul and that reintroduction.
Your legs. That scum! He took them from me! He took them! Who took them? Jedi! You remember?
Mercy, Master. Mercy is a lie, a delusion of the weak to think themselves strong. I ask not further mercy.
What is it? Brother, what are you saying?
Their bodies into the filth, through the grave.
Jedi!
Revenge. I must have revenge.
Because the whole thing, like, all the things he's sitting here muttering and crazy. Because, like, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the things he was saying, he would start, like, the Sith code. Talking about no mercy, there is no mercy, and all this other kind of stuff. The chains, I think it was like the chains will set me free, or something like that. Through something, my chains will set me free. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's quoting the Sith code. But what it's doing in his mind is it's leading him to other things. Yeah. And so he starts quoting the code to try to bring himself back, and then he ends up down other avenues where it's just insane.
Why did I feel like you just described me in a way? Like, I feel like I've gotten a little better, but you know how bad I am at that. Like, I'll start saying something, and then, like, whatever I said leads me down another path, and I'm like, Danny, but da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, how did you even think of that? And I'm like, because I said da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, what? I don't even understand how that makes sense.
Is that what I sound like?
Yeah, you're like, I don't know, dude. Those don't even, like, relate.
Oh my
dude.
God.
Man. I'm kidding.
Okay, dude. No.
Bruh. Bruh.
Nah, I limit myself on bruh. Like, bruh. You gotta draw a line somewhere. But
bruh.
But yes, I would agree with you. You do that all the time. All the time. It's like following the white rabbit down the hole.
Literally, I'm sorry, but I'm sure our fans and our listeners have noticed this too.
Yeah. But without recapping all of Maul's intro, so what did you think of seeing Maul after, well, the last time we saw him in Phantom Menace? What did you think of his reintroduction?
So the last time we saw Maul, he was falling in two pieces down a hole. So I mean, you don't really expect to see him. You know, you're kind of like, Maul who? Oh, yeah. No, not
well,
really.
that guy, he survived.
Right.
That's nice.
Who are you? That might be what Obi-Wan said, too.
Oh.
He's like, I don't think we've had the pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, of course you would forget me.
But I didn't forget you.
I never forgot you. But I almost feel like I shouldn't be quoting this, but it's okay. There's more to it, but it's all right. We'll leave it at that. But Maul's introduction to me, it was kind of scary. He's really freaky. He really freaks me out because he's running around with his 3-4-legged spider self, like hopping all over the place, and being like, no, mercy, no. I'm sorry, I was being the spider legs. It was the spider legs. Too much?
You're good. You're good.
I even have hand motions, guys.
Just in case you've never seen the episode, she's giving you accurate depiction.
I am. But it's freaky. I didn't like it. I know one of the things you said too, as we were watching it may not have been this exact part. But thank you. You should be thanking me because of subtitles. You were like, oh, I didn't even realize that he said all the things he said in this.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I didn't realize a lot of the things, especially the stuff where he started talking about something about mercy, that not showing mercy or something like that. But then he went from there to like, I don't know, it was some weird theology of mercy, of like how it is for the weak and something. I wish I had that in front of me, but like it's crazy what he goes through, and like I said, it was the Sith code is that he was going through and everything. It was almost like what you hear with prisoners of war and stuff like that. They start reciting their information and all that kind of stuff so they don't lose themselves. It was almost like he was doing that, where he was reciting the code that he lived by, the Sith code, over and over again, but his mind was so broken that it couldn't hold together.
Right. Well, and you know, one of the things later that we learn that he says is that like his body was broken and his mind was broken or something like, along those effects.
Yeah,
but his spirit was intact because all he could think about was getting revenge for Obi-Wan.
What kind of hatred must that be, that is what kept you alive after you were chopped in half? And I mean, that's in all intents and purposes, you were killed. I mean, you should have been.
Right. He obviously wasn't.
Hatred for a single human being built you spider legs and kept you alive long enough to try to see your revenge exacted. Like, how insane is that?
Right. That's pretty crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine how much hate you'd have to have within yourself in order to like reconstruct yourself, and then, you know, still kind of lost yourself along the way. But that's what kept him even remotely together, was the fact that he just wanted revenge against Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah. So what did you think of Maul's like grand introduction to Kenobi? His whole plan to draw at Kenobi.
So I'm trying to remember. We just like shoved like.
So he goes to like a remote planet in the outer rim.
Oh, yes.
And like slaughters an entire village.
The innocent
Enough to where it messes up a droid that can't seem to stop banging its head up against the wall.
Yeah,
like the droid's seen things.
That's pretty messed up. I mean, you know, after we get him going back to where Mother is.
Mother Talzin? Yeah.
Mother Talzin. And once she kind of reconstructs him back to his old self in a way, y'all, Maul's creepy. Like, we just didn't get much Maul in
Phantom Menace?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. I was about to say New Hope, and I was like, that's not it. That's way not it.
No.
Yeah. You know, we just didn't get much Maul in Phantom Menace. So, you only get really, like, the fight scene of him, and kind of like him in a hood, I think, is all you really get. His, like...
For the most part, I mean, I think it gets across in the movie just the rage. Because, like, that's something that I think is really cool that Sam Witwer brings to the character, is, like, every time Maul talks, like, he does this in Phantom Menace, but it's even more so in Clone Wars, where he's, like, seething. Like, he's just so mad he's talking through his teeth and everything.
Revenge.
I know.
Revenge will do that to you.
And stuff like that. Like, he's just so infinitely angry.
Yeah, but Maul's pretty sinister, and we just didn't get any of that from him before, and now, you know, these whole, like, Maul arc in Clone Wars, like, you really just dives deep into who Maul really is, and really how far Maul's willing to go just to get a little revenge on one person. It's not like he was trying to kill a whole planet. Like, my goodness, this man was like, I don't know, which you don't expect much, I guess, or you don't expect anything less, I guess I should say, from someone who is a Sith. But I mean, like, he gets to that first planet and he's like, yes, we must slaughter the innocent in order to draw out the Jedi, which was creepy, and it worked. It worked.
Is it more scary that it worked, or
I think it's more scary that it worked, because right before he was like, no, I can't be Maul, and then he's like, Maul.
I love that he toys with him though when he meets him. Like you said, it's like, I'm sorry, have we met before?
Really a pleasure.
He's like, you could have forgotten me, but I'll never forget you,
right?
And everything, which was so sweet of him to say. But no,
I know.
It's like, aw, you're my biggest fan,
right? You mean you thought of me all these years?
Aw, I didn't think of you at all.
Right? You were dead till about 5 minutes ago.
And then that realization where he's like, it is you. And then obviously Maul's got to play the cheap card and have his brother jump in behind him.
But it's Maul. Like,
it's Maul.
I mean, he's a Sith. Like, he plays dirty.
Oh, definitely.
They don't play for the rules. There's no rules.
Yeah. Well, and so I thought it was interesting seeing Maul play the long game. And not too long, because he has a nearsighted goal, I think. I mean, obviously to ruin Kenobi, kill him eventually, but he's kind of Palpatine Jr. And we start to see that in that second arc. I don't want to get to the second arc just yet, but like we see the makings of it in this first Maul Returns arc where he starts on Hondo's crew.
Yeah. So he's definitely in it for the long haul, and one of the things he says, is like, I've waited this long, like, I can wait a little longer. And, I gotta give it to the Sith, though. They got patience.
I'm telling you.
If anyone else ain't, they got all the patience for the rest of the world, because, like, you got, Maul there, who was willing to wait several years to get revenge. You get Palpatine, who was waiting, like, till Anakin's uprising, plus him taking over with Order 66, like, there's just so much patience. Like, they just kind of wait for the long game. Like, that's what they have to do, though.
Yeah.
It's the way they insert themselves into the story to end up where they want to be. It's all about the long game for them.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, every time you hear, and I feel like every time you hear the Jedi talk about the Sith are impulsive. They're driven by their passions. So I guess the driven by your passions part, I guess, would breed that patience of locked on a singular goal. But, I mean, I don't feel like that's very impulsive.
No, I can agree, but
the Sith kind of know a little bit what's up. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But I really liked, though, when he does start in on Hondo's crew, and he brings some of them over, and Hondo's like, oh, you betrayed me. I'm so proud. I love Hondo.
I know, I do too. Hondo's great. He's one of my, he's probably one of my favorite characters that's, like, kind of underrated in a way, because you just don't see him a whole bunch. And, but when he comes up, I'm like, oh, yay, Hondo. Like, woo.
It's like anytime we're going to it's Florum. Every time we're going to there, I love it. I'm just like, yay, Hondo.
Yeah, it was funny though how he makes his crew like turn against him.
Yeah,
like I'm just convinced at this point he can make anyone turn against anyone, really.
Well, and then in the end of that, I mean, he brings his crew back.
He does.
He's like, I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less. We're pirates, so we got this. You game? Cool. Let's go take the ship.
Right. He's like, and then they all start running to get to the ship because he's like, it's full of treasures.
Yeah.
Let's go. And they're like, treasure? Yes, let's go.
Yes. And then we lost Adigalia, one of the Jedi.
Sad.
Yeah.
That was sad. I do want to talk about too, like, Obi-Wan got his butt handed to him a lot.
Mm-hmm. Really shook him up.
It did, which is kind of scary. Because you always kind of expect that the Jedi, you always want to think that the good guy is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of how it always goes. Any movie, show you watch, like when the bad guy wins, it's a sad day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always rooting for the...
Cough, Infinity War.
Thank you for that insert. But you never want the bad guy to win. You're always rooting for the good guy. Most of us are. I'm sure there's a couple of you psychos out there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure there's a couple people that like the bad guys.
I see you out there.
Right? But you want the good guy to win. And, just to watch Obi-Wan get his butt handed to him, like, a lot of times, really and truly. Which, it was 2 against 1. So, but the couple times where it was, like, a couple people against the two, like, they just didn't stand a chance. He had Asajj Ventress help him at one point, that was really funny to me. That was a really funny scene because she came out of nowhere and was like, oh, you Jedi, or something like that. And and essentially, like, they were just kind of sarcastic towards each other, I guess.
Yeah. There was a lot of banter between the two.
There was.
Yeah.
It was funny. They were kind of bouncing off each other. And at one point, I looked at Danny and I was like, well, then he wonders where Anakin gets it.
Exactly.
Because Anakin
all the little
same
sarcastic
thing.
comments. Yeah.
He's like, I'm just taking your lead, because he's somebody like, oh, now you want to run or something like that. He's like, I'm just taking your lead or something. I'm just watching you or something like that. But even with them two, who both are very highly skilled, like trained force wielders.
Yeah.
Yeah, like. It was just not a good fight. Like, it was, they almost got their butts handed to them. They had to run. That's literally what they did. They ran.
Well, and then getting back to Maul too, like, Maul's no joke.
No.
Because, and that's the thing is, in Phantom Menace, so he's obviously skilled. We see the way he fights and everything. That's what we get. It's a snapshot of what or who Maul really is. And with his return, seeing him just locked into Kenobi and the destruction of Kenobi, not even the death. Like, he has multiple opportunities to kill him.
He does.
And he doesn't. He toys with him.
Right, because he wants him to suffer. That's what he says over and over again is, I want you to suffer the way I suffered.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all he wants, is he wants to watch Obi-Wan, like, just lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I know he draws on a lot, and he says it several times to him, and one of the parts is in that, like, cargo plane or wherever they're in, is that he's like, oh, your anger is starting to feed you.
Yep.
Kinda.
He starts playing into the whole dark side thing.
Talking about
he's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And he does it again another time, too, saying that his anger is going to take him over, and that's when Obi-Wan, well, that's the second part, so I guess we can wait. But, Obi-Wan's got to come back to it, but...
Oh, definitely. Well, and it's really cool character development for Kenobi, too.
It is.
Because Kenobi, up until now, has just been kind of the straightforward master. The one who, in all honesty, is probably the best depiction of an actual Jedi.
Yeah.
And we see that even he has flaws.
Right, he struggles.
He has weaknesses, and he
does.
struggles and things like that, which is really cool because that's where, like what you said, you start to see a lot more of where Anakin gets it. And that this wasn't totally Anakin being the way he is, the strong-willed and sarcastic at times and arrogant and all that kind of stuff. Obi-Wan carries those characteristics too, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. You start to realize that, like, not all the Jedi are perfect. Like, you can't be emotionless. Like, it's just not... It's not going to happen.
Well, and Anakin makes that point too. It's like, we're called to love, but attachment is forbidden.
Right.
So it's like, something's got to give.
Right. Like, the head wasn't talking to the heart when they made these rules. Like, what?
They were like, this is Jedi Theory 101.
Right.
And it's theory because no one has done it until now.
Right.
So, yeah. No, definitely. And I love seeing Kenobi's development through this because, in all honesty, it's a Kenobi arc. But even still, with Maul, seeing just, like... So I want to go ahead and start into the second arc.
I challenge you, one warrior to another, and only the strongest shall rule Mandalore.
So be it.
So the second arc starts with Maul. Him and Savage get discovered in the escape pod where they escaped off of Florum and everything. They're like half dead, whatever, covered in crystals because they're floating out in space and everything.
Right.
It says in the unknown space and everything. They're picked up by, I'm trying to remember who picks them up.
Pre Vizsla?
Yes, Pre Vizsla and the Mandalorians. They pick him up and everything. And so this starts the whole Mandalore arc with Maul.
Ooh.
So
what an arc, too.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
so
if you haven't seen it, like, stop what you're doing, pause this, go watch it, and come back and listen.
Because, dear God, it's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, if you just needed to know more about Maul, like, if you were just hungry for Maul after watching Phantom Menace, like, be prepared. Like, Clone Wars is not a kid's show. I repeat, it is not a kid's show.
These 3 episodes are absolutely not for kids.
No, they're not. They're scary.
There are so many beheadings.
So many beheadings. Oh my gosh. So many deaths.
So much death.
So much death. But.
Well, and so to like this whole arc, like, because at one point we were talking about how Maul was like scary good at what he's doing, like gave me chills. It reminded me, and this is not Star Wars, but it reminded me of The Office where Pam and Jim are at odds and everything, and she says something to the effect of, I know you'll make the right decision, or something like that, and then it cuts to his little interview thing and he goes, ooh. That's how I felt this entire time, where Maul would do something and it was just like scary calm and scary good. Like at one point he gets arrested and he just gives up. It's like, that's when you know you are in trouble. Like, you do not do... No, if the man is like, yeah, go ahead, do it.
Right.
He's going to kill you. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we see all the signs because we're bystanders watching what's happening. But like we said in the beginning of this, like, Maul is in it for the long game. Like, Maul already has this pre-notion of, like, ideas and, like, concepts of, like, what's going to happen, what's going to go down, how it's going to go down. Like, he's got a plan for every, like, scenario, I'd imagine. Because, I mean, normally I think what he says
well, and that's
happens,
the impression that we get, too, because Palpatine's the same way.
Right.
Everything seems to work out the way he plans. Even when there's hitches in the plan and everything, the same thing happens with Maul. Because there's a couple times where we're like, oh, man, they're going to get away. Oh, they're going to do this. And then Maul's right there. Like, yeah,
you know what's kind of scary about that, too? Is remember we were talking about this in one of our last episodes about how the Force.
Yes, last one, actually.
Yeah.
In Phantom Menace.
And about how, like, everything just kind of seemed to work for the good with the Force. And we were talking about how, like, the Force kind of, like, possibly inserts itself in order to, like, make things go the way it should. And it almost seems like it was like that for the Sith, which is crazy. Because if it's the same Force, it's like...
Whose side are you on anyways?
Right, exactly, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me think a lot and makes me wonder.
Well, and so I think that's where it might come into the manipulation of the Force, because the Force can allow one to see the future, things to come, stuff like that, which is why Anakin seemed like he had such quick reflexes, because he was seeing things before they happen.
Right.
So he's able to react scary fast to it. I think it's the same kind of thing with Maul, is that he's able to see the outcomes before they happen. And so it's kind of like he's calculating scenarios and things like that with almost an advantage. You know what I mean?
I mean, that makes sense, and that would make sense as to why he...
Because it's not necessarily that the Force is working for him.
Right.
He's making it...
He's manipulating it,
yeah.
In order to...
He's using what he can in order to determine the outcome that he wants, not necessarily the will of the Force.
That makes sense. It really does. Oh, it's just crazy. Like, they're just... It makes my brain, like...
We're just going to have to do an episode on the Force. It's
going
to happen.
Like, it's its own person. But that does make a lot of sense, and that could explain why, like, you know, a lot of times, one of the things that, you know, Yoda says in Phantom Menace, when they get Annie, is that Anakin's, like, future is clouded.
Yeah.
He can't see it. And I guess it's because there could have been, I guess, two, maybe he had two paths. That's why you can't see one or the other, because there was never one distinct one for him.
It's possible.
Until he got older.
Made that decision.
And that's why, like, later in Clone Wars, we see his future. Because somehow that path was already designed for him because of some choices that he's made along the way.
Well, and the future is always in motion as well. I think Yoda even says too. So just because you see an outcome doesn't mean that it'll happen. I think it's when he starts having visions of Padme.
Right.
And he's like, well, the future can change.
That's right.
That doesn't mean that it's set in stone. And so I think that's almost what kind of sets Anakin on that path of, I can change this.
Right.
I can.
Well, that's what the father says too.
Happening. Yeah.
In that episode that we've been watching Clone Wars, he even says that the path is not set. Like you can make the path. Did I say the path? The
path.
Future.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not set that you can make it.
Yeah.
Like you can make the difference in it. Like you don't have to be what it says you're gonna be.
Right.
Essentially. And lack of
there's
I don't
still
know exactly
choice,
what he worded.
which goes back to your point of it being more free will than something saying you have to be this.
Right.
It's almost as if the Force has laid out a path that must happen, influences it one way or another, but you still have that choice to say, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right. Huh. Okay, yeah, well, sorry. We'll have to jump onto an episode of The Force. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that that's why, Maul seemed so calculated and was able to kind of really keep the ball rolling and not having to, like, really hit many, problems amongst it. And it was really funny, too, because like you said, when he got arrested, he was like, oh, it's cool, it's fine, it's whatever, which is really creepy.
Exactly.
But, I mean, he was playing the long game anyway. You know, they were going around planet to planet, picking up the Black Sun, picking up the
Pike Syndicate.
I was like, that was like literally on top of my tongue.
Got the Hutts too. Yeah.
The Hutts, killing a lot of people along the way, which was scary, very intimidating. So Pre Vizsla, he shouldn't have messed with them.
Well, and I liked when they go after and on Now Hutta, they go after the Hutts. One of the bounty hunters throws a knife at one point. Where they're like, "Oh," he's like, "I'll trade you your lives in exchange for your." It's like that's what I'll give you. I'm not going to give you credits. I'm not going to give you any of that. You'll have your lives. And one of the bounty hunters throws a knife, and Savage stops it from behind Maul's head, and Maul just takes it and then puts it back on the bench. It's almost like everyone gets one.
He slings it back.
He slings it back, but he puts it into the bench instead of killing somebody.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like he's like, okay, I'll give you that one.
Right.
And then after that, they start shooting at him, and he's like, well, you done it now. So I almost kind of wonder if the Hutt that did die didn't have to die because they decided to. Exactly.
I mean, they end up bound. I mean, that's the thing is no one had to die. Everyone just decided they were the bigger muscle in the room.
Right.
So they were like, ha 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 ha.
Like the Black Sun is like, we are the Black Sun. You're the headless sun right now. Sorry.
I want his sword. You're dead.
You'll get it. It'll fit nicely around your neck.
Right. And so I mean,
kind of went dark.
Not a kid's show.
Not a kid's show.
Do not watch this with your children right now.
I did love before he killed the Hutt though, where he was like, "So all you can tell me is that I'll find Jabba at Jabba's palace."
Right. That was really funny because he's like, really? Like, it's Jabba's palace. Like, where else would he be? Like,
exactly.
Like, if I go to your house, am I going to find you? Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Thank you. New news for me. That was funny, though. He was just kind of like, this is really the information you're giving me.
Yeah. He had that look like, come on, man.
Right. Give me a location. Tatooine. And that's when Pre Vizsla was like, Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. So what did you think of Pre Vizsla in this?
Pre Vizsla was trying to play the long game too there. He never had any respect really, I guess, for Maul or Savage. I almost said Savage. He never really, had much for them, and they were all both playing the long game, and you could tell when Pre Vizsla was getting really mad because him and Maul would be kind of walking, talking, and Maul was all about this vision. Which is kind of cool, too, when you think about it now. Thinking about on, like, where everything happened, he always had this vision for it.
And the vision has expanded and things like that,
and,
yeah.
That vision he'd been talking about was probably the future.
There you go.
He knew what was going to be happening. So he already had this, like...
Or at least knew how to accomplish it.
Right. He always had this, like, pre-motion on how to get where he was going because he had already seen it. So, sorry.
No, yeah.
Chills. It's just cool. But, you could always see when Pre Vizsla was getting really mad because he would, like, ball up his fist or, and then him and Bo-Katan. Katan, by the way, not Katan. We learned this. We used to call her Katan.
Yes.
So, very sorry if we've been saying that for this long, but she says her name in the last episode we watched, and she said Katan. So, we will start saying Katan. But, him and her, which makes me wonder what her role was, too.
In as far as like at Pre Vizsla's side?
Yeah, like was she literally like a part of that? Like is that what she believed? Or was she like undercover for her sister in a way?
So,
kind of
no,
like both.
Because she disagreed with her sister.
Right.
She didn't believe with how Satine ran Mandalore at all. So that's why she defected to Death Watch.
Right, so. Satine was right.
Satine was right. Need a t-shirt of that. Satine was right. But no, Bo-Katan actually believed in Death Watch. She was part of the Death Watch. It was her own little kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it a clan because I don't think it was. I'm not sure. But it was the Night Owls. And so, yeah. And so, but no, she was absolutely part of Death Watch. She wanted to see Pre Vizsla on the throne. Like, she actually believed in the vision. And then when things went sideways, when Maul relieved him of his head, that's when she was like, "Oh crap!" Because that was another thing that kind of scared me and kind of like sent chills through me is when Maul knew their customs about the single combat and stuff like that. Where the old Prime Minister, I can't remember his name right now. Almec, yeah. When he was like, "Oh yeah, well, if you defeat him in combat, they're honor bound to stand by your side." He's like, "I know,
precisely."
Yeah, precisely. It's like you knew that, like
right?
Ugh.
It was the pregame. He knew it all.
Yeah, it was like everything was planned.
Yeah,
and surely he came across something, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's like, how do you do that?
Which was so funny too when him and Savage ended up in jail together.
Yeah,
and they're sitting there talking, and his brother was like, "Brother, what are we going to do now?" And, and Maul's just like, "Patience, Padawan."
Yeah.
Do they call him Padawans?
Apprentice.
Thank you, apprentice. I knew I was wrong, but because it didn't sound right. But I was like, but I know this is
Padawan sounds so endearing.
I know. I was like, that sounded so nice. Like, Patience apprentice. And then he was like, we just got to find someone, he hasn't taken the throne yet. We just got to find someone who's like corrupt, essentially. Somebody who's a murderer. No, I'm just kidding. And he's like, well, I'm just ready to take me on a tour. And Savage just like does this like creepy shake, like, and like blows like the windows out, and it was
Sith implosion.
Literally, like it's kind of funny when you think about it because he literally just did this like shake, like.
Well, what was funny is like he almost looks like he's about to Hulk out. Like he flexes his muscles, he goes, huh, and then boom.
Right, and everything around them, like, well, not around them, just anything in their like little vicinity, their cell exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just kind of taking a tour, and Savage is killing all the guards that's trying to kill them. And they walk up to Satine, and she's like, "What do you want, monster?" And he's just like,
it's almost like an interview.
Yeah, it's really funny because like he gets what he wants, but like you just don't even realize it until like the end of it. But he's like, "Where's all your council at?" or something like that. And she's like, "Well, they must either be in here with us, or they're dead because they didn't, follow Pre Vizsla."
Yeah,
and then I don't remember what he asked, but he says something. And like, who's him or something? I don't know, who's he? Who's this guy? Or who was with you? And she was like, Almac or something like that. And she was like, no, he's a traitor.
Yeah.
I put him in jail because...
For corruption and something, yeah.
And then as they like, oh, perfect, thank you for cooperating. Yeah. And he like walks on to the next cell, which is Almac, however you want to say his name.
I think, yeah.
And he's like, Almac? And he's like, yes. So then they have that fun conversation. He's like, "Yeah, she put me in here for corruption." She's like, "He's a murderer!" And all Maul can think is like, "Great, thank you. You're just adding bonus points to this." Like,
cha-ching!
Okay, right?
Check that off.
Right.
And then Savage has got to lean around the corner. Quiet.
Now, have you had murderous thoughts in the last 24 hours? You have? Great, thank you.
Are you morally flexible?
Right. Do you have any regrets over your last action as why you're in jail? No? Great. You check all the boxes, sir. You can come with us. So, obviously they're like, oh, wait, he's perfect. He can be like the face, but I'm running things. And that's essentially what happens is Maul had this long game the entire time. And he ends up in a battle with Pre Vizsla. It does not go well for him, for Pre Vizsla.
I was about to say, yeah.
It was a pretty good battle at first. And I was like, I don't think he does he? Danny's like, I don't know, does he?
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he survived it. I was pretty sure at some point he died. I couldn't remember if it was at that point, but that fight, yeah, he's definitely dead. Like I said, Maul relieved him of his head, so
he did.
Yeah,
he has no head.
He has no head. But the fight between them, like at times, reminded me of Sabine at the trial of the Darksaber, where she was fighting against Ezra and learning how to do it, because Finn Rao gives her some of those things that Pre Vizsla was using, like the rope and all these other kind of things that they used against the Jedi. And so I thought that was really interesting to see the same tactics passed on, and I just thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I know. We did talk about that for a hot second.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll have to go back and watch, because I know for a while there I wasn't really into Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
But towards the end, I know I was definitely like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I love it. So we'll have to go back and kind of get that feel of... because, that was kind of the thing, too, is I hadn't really seen much about them Mandalorians.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I think the only thing I really saw was that little line with you when Satine, I think, goes, not Satine. Oh, my bad. Sabine.
Sabine.
You could see how I got those confused.
Close.
I know, right? Like, literally, I think it was a letter off. Sabine, Satine. Okay, yeah. Anyway. But when Sabine goes back to Mandalore,
mm-hmm.
or maybe not, is it Mandalore she goes back to?
She goes back to Mandalore.
I couldn't remember because I think it looks so different compared to...
Well, where her family is different than the main city of for Mandalore, the capital city.
That's probably why I was getting a little confused.
Yeah.
I was like, it looks like they're like in a snowy...
I don't know, a little dome.
Yeah.
Well, and that's because Mandalore's been so ridden with war at one time, they've completely just decimated the surface. And so they have to live in like these biodomes in order to survive on their own planet.
Oh.
Which is why Satine fights so much for pacifism
and
instead of going back to those warrior ways that got the planet where it was at this time. Right.
Which, I mean, give a round of applause to Obi-Wan there, for real, because, one of the things that really kind of hurt my heart when we were watching, when Satine sent that thing out, like, Obi-Wan, we need your help, like, please, someone help, and they showed it to him, and they were like, oh, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, they are...
Even Yoda goes so far to say, I get where you're coming from.
Right, like, I understand your emotions, but... because of what she's, like, pledged and what she stands for, like, she's neutral. Like, she's nor a separatist nor...
the Republic.
The Republic, thank you. It was trying to come out there. She's nor one or the other, so she's neutral. And so, essentially, like, that means nobody can come to her aid. Mm-hmm. It's just like nobody
They're
cares
on their
all
own.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right, which is really sad. Like,
right.
What?
So you've chosen to stay out of the war, but because you haven't chosen a side, forget you're on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just left to die.
Yeah.
And that's essentially...
Which it seems like the Republic would still aid the neutral systems. But, I mean, I guess I kind of get it just because they're neutral because they don't want the Republic or the Separatists' help. They want to be their own thing. They're sovereign on their own. But at the same time, it's like, if the Republic truly are the ones that are the good guys and are the ones who want to help...
And protect the innocent.
Right. You would think that that's what would happen. But I think that's where it comes into a lot of what Palpatine's doing in the Senate. And with the Republic and everything, turning it into what it is, making it to basically... complete dysfunction.
Yeah.
To where it doesn't act anymore. It doesn't nothing happens anymore, and that's what he wants.
Right. I mean...
Because, I mean, he even goes to tell Obi-Wan that you'll have to leave your personal matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him saying that to him. That it's a personal thing, and it's... I don't know. It's just sad, though, because you'd think that the Jedi think who... because when I think about the Jedi, I think of people who want to protect the innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that it was a neutral, like, territory, planet, it wasn't everyone's decision, though. I mean, yeah, I guess they were following behind Satine, but at the same time, she was the main leader, and I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of heartless to,
just say you didn't pick a side, take off.
Right.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah.
Millions of people that are there, and they're all going to have to suffer because of one person's choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was Satine's overall choice in order to stay neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I know why she did it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying, like, she picked a bad thing, but at the same time, like, it didn't end up working.
That shouldn't cut them off from all help. Yeah.
It shouldn't. Like, something should have been able to happen, but...
Well, and I think that's what's interesting to see in the Clone Wars animated series, in Attack of the Clones, all these other ones, that it's interesting to see how the role of the Jedi changes from Peacekeeper to General. And everything, because all of a sudden they become basically these war machines.
They do.
And, like, there's a couple novels where they actually talk about the Jedi, and some people are scared of the Jedi, or think that they're evil because they saw one side of it, because they were a separatist-controlled place or something like that, and all they know is this great killing power that the Jedi have, but that's not what they were meant for. That's not their code. All of this Clone Wars, them being generals, is against the Jedi code.
Right.
That's not what they're supposed to be. Peacekeeper would be something where they would go to Mandalore and help or something like that. I don't know that they would be bound by the Senate. I mean, to a degree, I would think, but it wouldn't be the same as invading a planet.
Right.
It would be more of, hey, here's some peacekeepers to help you out.
Right.
You know?
Like, we send neutral people.
Right, exactly. Because the Jedi should be neutral.
They
they're
shouldn't have
peacekeepers.
a side.
They're not Republic peacekeepers. They're not Separatist peacekeepers. They're peacekeepers.
Right. And that's why Obi-Wan shows up. But plus Satine, you know.
Well, there was no way Obi-Wan was going to sit there. And again, comes back to, why do you think Anakin's that way?
Right.
He never listens either.
Anakin did let him borrow a ship. That
exactly.
So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It starts falling apart. But...
Which, side note, I did like the undercover costume that he had coming off of that ship.
Yeah.
Because it was an original concept of Boba Fett before Star Wars ever happened.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So it was really neat.
That's cool. I think that's
Nothing ever goes to waste with Star Wars.
It doesn't. That's one thing I know you keep pointing out to me. Anything we see, whether it be like ships or costumes or... Because wasn't Bausch Leia, wasn't that something? Or am I making that up? I thought you said it was something else and they ended up using it for that and that's why it got put on to her or something.
Not Bausch Leia, Ketsu Anyo. She was a early concept for Boba Fett as well.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Just kidding.
As far as I know, I think Bausch Leia was always, or Bausch the Bounty Hunter, I think that was an original. I'm not sure, though, to be honest. So,
I don't know. I just know along the way we watch movies and shows together and anything that's been coming out, a lot of times you're like, oh, that was original concept art for this, or that was original...
Zeb was one of those, actually.
Yeah.
He was originally Chewie.
Yeah.
And then Chopper was originally R2.
Right. So there's a lot of things that you know. You have a lot of knowledge, and it's so helpful. I love it. But kind of getting back to our main story, I guess. You know, so Obi-Wan goes and helps. Sadly, Satine dies as he's trying to help her, which is...
Both of us teared up.
I know, both of us did, because Satine's like, I'll always love you. It was so, like... Oh, it's so mean, too, because, you know...
I've never seen so much emotion in animation. I thought that was... So, I don't know if you noticed it, but I think it played a lot to the scene, where when Maul is holding up Satine and everything, choking her and everything before he stabs her, you see the anguish in Obi-Wan's face, and then when he stabs her, just in his face, in the animation itself, it's just kind of like this horror that, I mean, I don't know, it seems like that would be an emotion that'd be difficult to convey in 3D animation, but I mean, it was perfect.
It was, and one of the cool lines I do want to talk about real quick that really kind of was like, holy crap, for me, was when, right before, like we said, when he still got Satine up in that chokehold, and Maul makes another pass at Obi-Wan again about the anger and stuff, because he's like, I don't want to kill you right now, like, I want you to suffer the way I suffered, like, I want you, to, like, just be in pain, essentially, you know, he just wanted him to just, I don't know, he just wanted to be
miserable, suffer, always in pain. I mean, basically do to him worse than what he did to Maul.
Right, exactly. And one of the things, you know, he goes back that whole, like, I just want you, you know, if you channel that anger and vengeance, and I don't know what else he says,
hatred,
anger and hatred. He says something along those lines. Obi-Wan's like, no, that's like, I can't remember the exact words.
Well, he talks about the dark side, and so he's talking about how the dark side makes him more powerful, and then Obi-Wan goes through saying that the being part of the dark side is the easy path.
Right.
Resisting it makes him stronger.
Right.
And stuff like that. And so it's kind of like a battle of theology almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's harder to do the dark side, but no, resisting the temptation is what's like harder.
Which makes him stronger and
right. So
yeah.
both of them like think they're the stronger being, and I mean, according to those battles with them together, like
all seemed like he had it together, but we know how it ends for him though. So
we do. But I just thought that was interesting because that's what Maul just keeps kind of going back to is that fear and anger and hatred and just all those
that's
things
what fuels him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, all those things that fuel the Sith. So that was, I don't know. That's just a cool line to me. I like that Obi-Wan was able to kind of throw it back at him and be like, no, like, I'm stronger because I can resist it. Like, you're the weak one because you're part of the dark side, essentially. And then, and what's the team?
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. However, ending that arc, though, Maul got his butt handed to him.
Oh, my God.
What'd you think about that final battle between, what was it? Maul, Savage, and the Emperor. Or,
creepy.
sorry, to be Emperor, Darth Sidious.
Darth Sidious. Creepy. Just creepy. Like, you like, you just knew he was coming, too. And then everything he does is so creepy. Like, he barely, like, moves, like, a finger, and, like, things just happen. Like, he's just choking
It's like
guards.
freaking
He's
Paranormal
like,
Activity when he walked into the room. Like, the guy's slammed up against the wall and he moves them up the wall and everything.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, don't do that.
Stop. Yeah, so he essentially chokes everyone out in his path. He doesn't care. The guards are like, halt, and all of a sudden they're like,
well, and what's creepy is that, like, so the first one he comes across and everything, he comes off the platform, starts choking, like, easily gets up onto this little speeder or whatever, and he just keeps going, and the guy's just choking. Like, normally we see the Sith, like, snap a neck or something, like, kill him or whatever, and Palpatine's just like, I'll let you writhe.
Right.
I'll just let you run your course.
Right. I'm just going to go on.
That's more creepy to me. It's just like, just finish. What are you doing? Stop.
I think the part that creeped me out the most, too, is when we know he's coming, but Maul doesn't know yet. And Maul's like, I feel this presence that I haven't felt since.
Same line that Vader uses too.
Yeah.
Kind of. Vader uses that. Well, no, Vader uses that exact line when Obi-Wan gets on the Death Star in A New Hope. He said, I sense a presence that I have not felt since, and then he doesn't finish his sentence and walks off. Same thing that Maul just did.
But Maul says master, though.
Well, he says master when he walks in the room. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I thought that was interesting that parallel. I mean, it may not mean anything, but
I mean, they're both force wielders. So.
But see, and now it goes back to the whole thing of if you've got somebody who is calmly turning themselves over, or laughing while you're fighting them, or smiling while you're fighting them, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Like you're not winning that fight. Dude is psycho.
Get out.
Get out.
Get out. Yeah, because that was creepy just like the whole time. I mean, and here's the thing is like, I know we probably see a little bit of Palpatine's power throughout the movies, especially once we get to Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
And...
Well, that's when we actually see him fighting with the saber, stuff like that, yeah.
So, but I mean, I feel like at that point, too, you don't get as much as you would in an animated series, because I feel like it's a little bit easier to, like, just give us those motions and stuff, but, Palpatine's scary. He's a scary fighter. He's some cool moves, though.
Yeah, he does.
He did these, like, little spin around things.
He even did his little corkscrew from Revenge of the Sith, too, where he flies at Mace Windu. He did that in there, too.
I missed it. I didn't watch it. I missed it. You should rewind it for me, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly.
He did that, like, for a quick second, and that was actually right before the move that you said that you thought was cool, when he goes, like, bends back and goes behind his back with it and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he corkscrewed through and then went behind his back, and, like, it just looks so unnatural.
Yeah.
And it creeps me out to no end.
It does look really unnatural. It's scary. It's really scary. Like, Palpatine's not somebody you want to see in an alley.
No.
He's not. You better turn on run, buddy, because he's got moves. And
He's got moves.
Not killer dance moves, like killer saber moves. Like he'll stab you from behind somehow. I'd
watch that movie.
Not behind, but I don't know. Like that's how he kills Savage. It's like he does some move behind his back, and all of a sudden he brings him back forward, and like I think he like twists him in the
he blocks it behind his back, and then he puts it like
through Savage,
through Savage while he's standing in front of him with his back to him. Yeah,
and he sends him backwards into him, and then I was like, brother. He did.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
But yeah, that was crazy. And then it ends with Palpatine telling Maul after he's tortured him with Force lightning,
mercy,
kicked his butt.
Mercy.
Yeah, Maul is completely broken. Show me mercy, all this other kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm not gonna kill you yet. And then he like starts frying him with Force lightning. He's like, I still have use of you. And it's just like, you're like, I'm telling you, like there's always a bigger fish. There's always a crazier person. There always is.
There always is. But ooh, it's scary.
Yeah,
that's a scary last 4 minutes or something like that of that episode 5 maybe.
That was crazy.
It's scary, but really cool. It was definitely really cool watching Maul's arc.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of, watching him come back from the crazy spider legs back to like this really just
cold, calculating psychopath.
Literally, like. But we know where he gets it too. I mean, Palpatine was his master beforehand, and do we know how long he was his apprentice before? So I mean,
just enough time to train him, apparently. So
we don't know how long though.
That's true.
He could have been doing this for years before we really
lying in wait and everything. Yeah,
because I mean, like we said, the Sith are in it for the long game, so they're not looking to like rise up an army right away. I mean, if they are, they're training behind closed doors that you'll never see until it's time. Which I mean, there's only 2, which is something that Palpatine says in that last episode too.
Yeah,
like the way of the Sith, there can only be 2: the master and the apprentice.
Yep.
So he's like, and I've got an apprentice now.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna kill
and
you.
You've been replaced,
right? So it's just
The more I think about it, the more I'm just like, ooh.
I know.
You'd actually mentioned this at one point about Maul being your favorite villain. Like,
yeah, I mean, I still have my love for Vader, but that's just because I feel like you get, I don't know, I love Vader's story. I think that's why I like him so much, is you get to see that, like we talked about, that young boy turn into this evil, like, just bad person, and you get that story behind it, and there's just a lot of heart in it, because I don't know, I get it, and I like it. But definitely. For like villain wise, like straight up just like ooh, like shiver, scary, like maybe give me nightmares tonight kind of thing. It's definitely Maul.
Absolutely.
It's definitely Maul. And I wish we got more of that Maul in the movies, more so than in Clone Wars, because I mean you had those people that when Maul came back in Solo, people were like, he was cut in half. That dude dead. It's like, no. No.
Come to my corner.
Right.
Welcome to my world.
And until we watched this together, I mean, I knew Maul was still alive. And, I remembered the whole spider leg thing. And I remembered him going back to Tatooine to find Obi-Wan. And I remember watching little bits and pieces with you with Maul. And I knew he was alive. I knew that. I just didn't realize how scary he was.
Oh, yeah.
And so this makes me wonder, too, like, now what's going to be happening if we get, like, a sequel to Solo or like a Maul kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what the title is going to be, but if we get like a sequel to what's happening, so thus far in Solo, like, I don't know. I'm a little scared for everyone's future. Just a little bit. Just a tad.
Just think, Kira and Maul are about to be working much more closely.
Right, which, I wonder if she's the apprentice.
See, I don't know. I know that he's gonna kind of, and that's the thing, is you kind of wonder at what point in the timeline this follows as far as Maul's line, because we know where it falls in the overall canon, but as far as Maul's timeline, he has his Rebel saber. He's got the legs that he has in Rebels and everything too. He's obviously around the time of the crime syndicate but this has to be after that showdown with Palpatine.
Yeah, because I wonder what Palpatine puts him into and does. Because that's what Palpatine says at the end of this is, I have plans for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I don't think, I don't know. See, I don't feel like Palpatine would rise him back up.
Well, so the Pikes, Black Sun, all that kind of stuff, this particular, I guess, underworld that he's collected is called the Shadow Collective.
They all
so
about,
it's not Crimson Dawn, it's Shadow Collective. So something spins off of that for it to become Crimson Dawn, and I think it might be the byproduct of whatever he's doing with Palpatine.
Could be. I don't know. I'm excited to see, though, honestly. Like, if you were like, hey, Kristen, what are you most excited about in the future of Star Wars? Like, 1, Battlefront, with the new characters coming out. 2, I want more Maul. I need to know what's happening in the sequel movie.
There's so much time we need to find out about it.
I know, and I want it so bad. I need it in my life.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you have any other things you want to throw in here real quick?
Well, I mean, as far as Maul, I mean, I love him as a villain. He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's always been one of your favorites.
Well, and even as a kid, when I didn't know much about him, even in Phantom Menace before he came out, like, I mean, that's it's weird to say, but it's a moment that I had with my dad trying to find that Darth Maul character, that Darth Maul action figure.
Yeah.
It was really popular at the time and everything, and it's a fond Star Wars memory I have of spending time with my dad. So, Maul unites families and stuff. Aww. But I mean, like, Maul has always been my favorite. I remember seeing him on the big screen for the first time in my first Star Wars movie in theaters and everything. And just everything about him is just so interesting to me, because he goes from literally being chopped in half to saving himself through the dark side of the Force in just sheer hatred and thirst for revenge, climbs all the way up the ladder just to get thrown straight back down by his old master, and then he's in Rebels.
Which is crazy, too, because you gotta think, Palpatine's like, no. You're not gonna mess this up for me. I've been playing this long game here for so long, underneath the curtains, where nobody could see me, no one knew. You're not about to, like, secretly rise into power. When
he even calls him a rival. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. That's so funny because, that line right before they battle, he's like, oh, Master, I was just trying to get back with you or back to your side. And he's like...
You're trying to deceive me.
Right. You're trying... I can't even do it. I was going to try to do like Palpatine all of a sudden, but it just wasn't
We'll work on your Palpatine.
You're trying to deceive me. No, that sounds like a troll or something. Just kidding. Delete.
Troll Palpatine.
Delete, yeah. I'll work on it. I'll get back to you guys. I'm just gonna find me like a hood, and I'm just gonna be like, like running around. Stop!
So Palpatine's a witch now.
I'm gonna work on it.
Okay.
Don't judge me. I'm working on it.
Pro tip: start with "do it."
Do it.
Close.
Do it. Okay, we'll work on it.
But yeah. But no, I mean, Maul's always been one of my favorite characters. I mean, not even just villain, but just overall character, because the growth this character has, all the things that he goes through, it's just astounding that he's a survivor.
He is.
Like, no matter what, he has his goals, but he is a survivor. Self-preservation to the max.
Are we sure Obi-Wan killed him a second time?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
I was getting a little nervous there. All of a sudden, we're going to have like a Rise of Maul sequel. Or,
yeah.
Rise
you
of
thought
Maul
I was
2.
dead this time.
Right. Hellraiser 2 over here,
Oh my gosh. That would be terrible.
Know,
no, he's definitely dead this time.
Just had to make sure.
And what's crazy is that, I mean, and just kind of, I know this isn't what the episode's about, but like touching on that last moment, it's almost like it's a moment of resolution for him, because his revenge drove him all the way to that point under twin suns with Obi-Wan, and he loses. And the last thing he says is, is he the chosen one? He will avenge us. And so at that point, it's like almost like my vengeance can rest, is because I know that the chosen one will avenge us.
Right.
But he groups himself in there with Kenobi, which is really cool. He will avenge us.
Well, and at this point, too, I'm wondering... So do you think... Well, it has to be. So at this point, we're getting... At this point in that storyline, we're getting... This is like... After everything. So this is like... Well...
It's before A New Hope, but like leading up to it.
But like even Solo is before this, obviously, because Maul dies.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Like I said, I want that sequel so bad. I just need to know. So it's like, maybe he does fall back out from under Palpatine's nose again because Palpatine dies. So maybe this is him rising up into Palpatine's spot.
Well, he doesn't get to that point because Palpatine doesn't die till Return of the Jedi. So,
well, I know, but I'm just saying...
So Maul doesn't ever have the opportunity because everything that happens to Maul happens before A New Hope.
Dang it, we just need to do an episode on this. But I'm just here, like, my brain's just turning, and I'm like, thinking of like...
Maul, we're not through with you.
We need to make, like, we're going to write, like, let's get a sheet of paper, and we're just going to think, like, storyline, and we're going to, like, write everything down we know for sure, and we're going to have the blanks, and we're going to, like, theorize, like, maybe this is what happened.
I'm down with that.
Maybe this is what happened. And we'll get back to you guys, because I'm just, like, my brain's just literally, like...
Well, you know how I love my theories, too.
Yeah.
So I think
like
that'd be perfect.
Like, pop-up monkey or something right now, because I feel like someone's just sitting there, like, cranking the machine.
Kind of like we were talking how Maul keeps going down other avenues while he's trying to... Like, guys, this is Kristen going through multiple avenues, literally traveling down a rabbit hole.
Like, my eyes are just open right now because I'm just, like, trying to think and when certain things would have fell in. I don't know.
Well, that's
like
why
he said when he's talking about him, he's grouping themselves together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like he's had to have taken himself out of the picture with Palpatine in order to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gotten... Or
maybe the vengeance he's referring to is against Palpatine.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, at this point, he's not, like, under Palpatine anymore. He's got on himself. Maybe it's because Palpatine's done something to him. Or maybe he's just realized
I'm sure he's done a lot to him.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But...
I got the gears turning. This is why I love rewatching these things with you, because I've seen these arcs, I've seen the movies and everything, but it's cool seeing it through your eyes because you're just like, oh my god, there's so many things, the things.
I know, I'm a kid in the candy store. I really am.
That's really cool.
And there's a Palpatine over there and a Darth Vader candy there, like Anakin's up the wall over there, like.
Does the Vader one have a smoky flavor?
It does actually.
Oh.
It's actually called smoked.
Smoked. Mustafarian smoked.
I was trying to think of something funnier than that, but I couldn't. Indoor is smoky indoor.
You're ridiculous.
I couldn't think of what that place was called.
All right, so I think that's a good place to end our episode because otherwise we will be here all night. Which is cool because that's how much I love Maul, and I'm glad that you have that appreciation for him as well. He's just such a cool character, and I'm sure this will not be the last time we talk about Maul.
Oh no!
Yes,
no. We'll definitely have something else, for sure. If not like right here in the foreseeable future, like I said, if we get like sequel, we're gonna have to get something else for Maul.
Absolutely. So. Well, I'm sure he'll come up in conversation.
Oh, he will.
Quite a lot.
He sure will. But yeah. So this was a really fun arc. I really enjoyed it. I love seeing that Maul side. Just getting to
know him.
That. Yeah, getting to know him because you don't really get to know him.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Absolutely, I agree. So definitely. So guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kessel Run Weekly. You can find all of our things on KesselRunWeekly.com, any past episodes, anything like that. And be sure to follow us on social media at Kessel Run Weekly on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We talk back.
We do. And don't forget, also on our website, we have like a little suggestion box, I guess is what we can call it.
Contact form, yeah.
Contact form, so you can contact us and just let us know how we're doing, or, just send us a fun message. Give us some suggestions on things maybe you want to hear or talk about. We're pretty open.
Absolutely.
So just don't forget to like and subscribe.
Definitely. And if you're on iTunes, please leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. Anything you'd like to hear on the show or anything like that.
Yeah. And Danny, did we tell our awesome listeners that we're on Spotify?
No, I have not.
Well,
hey, guess what, guys? We're on Spotify!
Woo! So don't worry, you Apple haters. We are on Spotify now. So just go find us there. I think you can actually probably follow or subscribe or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can subscribe on Spotify.
I wasn't sure how the podcast worked on there. I know like for playlists
it's
you can
new,
follow,
so yeah.
So yeah, I figured because I was like, what podcast? This was a couple months ago though, so no worries. But yeah, so definitely go subscribe, follow our podcast there as well.
Absolutely. And so guys, again, thank you so much for listening to us week after week. Stay tuned next week for Solo and the Attack of the Clones.
Woo-woo.
Yes, very excited. And until next time, my name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.